Bluetooth. Alright, hello, no one. Which isn't too surprising to me. We'll see if anyone joins, but to anyone who may watch this later, I'm just sorting through some Lego parts today. I just had to fix the camera there for a sec. Also, if anyone does show up, let me know if the music is too loud. I just have some plain music playing from my speaker. So, some ads might come up because I just shuffled something quickly, so yeah. But I'm just sorting minifigure parts, so I have a few bins, quite a lot actually, set up. I have torsos. I don't even know what to call this bin. It's basically like the special helmets slash weird heads slash Star Wars helmets bin, just because I like to keep that separate from regular helmets. It's just easier that way. It helps me know. It helps me keep the more valuable stuff separate. And then I have a legs bin, which is all legs and dresses that are regular, including short legs, but droid legs, spring legs, things like that are kept elsewhere. And then I have an entire bin for heads, and I know you can't see where any of this is. I already have the camera set up nicely, and it's not too much to look at anyway. But I have a head bin, and then a bin that's basically my catch-all for all the droid and other miscellaneous minifigure parts that are either yet to be sorted or just I don't want to deal with right now. And then I have my helmets and headgear type things. And then I have my everything non-minifigure related that I throw and sort later. And then I have hair, which includes hat with hair and things like that. And then the last category I have is like gear. I've called it wearables. Basically anything that a minifigure would wear around their neck, their waist, or their shoulder, like a satchel type thing. Oh, and also foot gear as well. Basically any minifigure gear that's not necessarily an accessory, but that's not a hat or a helmet or something like that. I know I had said I posted a short little video saying that I was going to start about 10 minutes ago, and I was actually all ready and had the stream all set up and was going to hit go live like 15 minutes ago, and then I clumsily and stupidly knocked this bin, my torso and hands and arms bin, and knocked it over, and there's a bunch of other sorted bins off the table that it spilled into, and so I spent the last 15 minutes cleaning that up. There were some things said that I'm glad I wasn't live for, but I was able to make it not too bad using a strainer sorter thing that I have. So it made it relatively easy to sort out all the tiny little hands, which are the most miserable part of it. But picking out the torsos was the main hassle, but I was able to get that done easily enough. I mean, it wasn't fun by any means, but I made it work. So what I'm going through is just a bunch of, I guess you would call them trays, or like these type of things that have the little dividers. I don't personally use these as a storage method. I used to, but I just found that buying drawers was worth it, and I was able to get some really insane deals on drawers, on stack-ons, which you can kind of see in the background. So I primarily just use those and large drawers. But these are from a lot that I bought from someone locally where I live. And it had these tray things with dividers. I am blanking on what you call them. Are they just called trays? Trays? I don't really know. But I bought this lot from them and it had a bunch of these with pre-sorted pieces. So what I'm doing is pretty much low effort to no effort work, because most everything is already sorted how I would sort it, if not a little bit more. I came across some trays that were like sorted and it was all black helmets. I personally, and I think most people, don't sort by color until the very last sort when you have everything sorted by part type. So I ended up just mixing those in with my whole helmet bin. But then like this one, it is a little unfortunate because like all these firefighter hats are already individually sorted out, and I'm gonna have to dump them back in with the main hat thing, just because I haven't washed any of these, and I always like to wash everything. It just makes sure it's clean and germ free, but also it almost always gives it a new shine, which I think is a huge contributor to why I always get so many good reviews about my parts being so shiny and clean. So that I debated the idea of sorting all the way down to part type and then washing at that point, but I said, you know what, that would make too many tiny little batches to wash, and I wasn't gonna deal with that. It didn't sound fun. So right now I'm just trying to figure out really a good way to like go through these, because it's not easy. You can't just like with the drawer take it out and then maybe cover up the pieces you don't want and dump out the ones you do. And even then you could just dump out the whole thing and sort through it pretty quickly. With these, you have to scoop them out or grab them individually, and like someone once said, picking up Lego takes forever. Not being able to slide it across a table is a big time waste. So I had previously been just dumping them on the table, however that is a bit messy and can cause pieces to fly everywhere. So I was trying to avoid that, but I'm not sure if it's gonna stay that way at all. I might try it again here just to demonstrate it, but yeah. Also, I noticed that my stream is being extremely choppy. I don't know if that's how it is on the other end of things. I certainly hope not, and if it is, just let me know if you ever see this, and I will resolve the issue. I've never done this before, obviously. If you have followed my channel for any period of time, I mean, you can look back at all the videos I've ever uploaded. There's not a single live stream, and no, none of them are hidden or archived. I've just never done one. I think I did one once, like 7 years ago or so, but it was of me playing Mario Kart, and I was like way younger, and I had probably like 12 subs at that time, so yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just brainless work. There's not too much really to comment about. The only thing that I was kind of talking to myself about last night is making specifications, or like declarations, I guess, because there are some things that you have to sort of define. For example, this here, I don't know if you can see that well at all. The lighting is not great, but it's one of the like Pharaoh helmet pieces. And there was a debate in my head last night over whether it should just go in the regular helmets bin or whether it should go in this, weird stuff bin, because I had previously put a similar Pharaoh hat that had like a beak in that bin, in the weird stuff bin, and these look very similar. They just don't have the bird thing on them, and the bird part was the reason why I put them in the weird stuff bin. And ultimately I came to the conclusion that, you know what, only stuff that either acts as a weird head or is a hat that is meant to change the human beingness of a character What I mean by that is things like this that are technically just headgear, but they go on a minifigure to turn it into, in this case, an ocean creature. Things like that. And so the pharaoh hat wasn't changing the fact that it was a human pharaoh or something like that. And so that's why I ended up putting both of them in the regular hat bin. That's a really random like side tangent, but that's the kind of stuff you have to do to like make sure you sort everything the same, because you don't want to go through and sort some parts one day and do it a certain way and then come back a week later and be like, well, I kind of forget if I put this hat here or whatnot or something like that. So it's important to make those distinctions. And my best advice is, if it's a piece that's kind of confusing to you, or one that you think you might get stuck on or come across and kind of forget what you did in the past, take extra long determining what it is. For example, I now know every time that I come across that pharaoh bird hat that it goes in the hats and not the weird stuff thing, because I specifically took like 2 minutes talking to myself about it, about what I should do with it. And so I have a decent enough memory of that. And so I know where it goes now. If you're just trying to do this really fast, which is great, you want to be efficient. But if you're doing this fast and then you come across something and you're like, close enough to a hat, I guess, and then you come across it down the road and you're like, wait, I think I've seen this before, but I don't remember because I was going too fast and I don't remember where I put it, you might end up with a thing where you end up with the same part in multiple different categories, which is just not what you want. For efficiency and for the sake of having and uploading all of a certain part at once, because that is ultimately the most efficient way to sell and sort used parts. So, no one is currently here, which I'm fine with and also pretty much expected. So I'm just going to sort, probably not talk for a bit, just so I can get through some of this faster. And if anyone shows up, well, you will win the prize of being my first ever live stream viewer. And if we get no one, which I fully expect, to be honest, then I will just continue to sort the way I normally sort, which is pretty quiet, occasional talking to myself. And that's pretty much it. So this tray here looks like pretty much all minifigure legs, and on the feed of what I can see of my stream, it is extremely choppy, so I don't know if you can see this, but it looks to be all legs, so I'm gonna go ahead and just try to dump this out. Mind the loud noise. And from doing that, you can kind of see... Skip. From doing that, you can kind of see why I didn't really want to do that as my permanent method for getting parts out of these trays, is because there were some pieces that flew all over the place, and I had to be pretty careful with it. If you have a better way, if you're more experienced with trays and you have a great way of getting parts out of them, please let me know, because I would greatly appreciate it. A quick note, I've just come across this Poseidon tail, mermaid tail. Things like this I do not put in my regular legs. I put those in with that catch-all that I was talking about earlier. The only thing that I put in the legs bin are dresses, which I'm debating taking out. The only reason I do is because once they're in, they're fairly easy to sort out anyway. And then I do put short legs in here just because they're common enough and basic looking enough. And then obviously standard legs. Everything else leg related goes in that catch-all that I was talking about. Except I haven't come across any yet, so I haven't made the distinction yet. But tall legs, the 3 stud, or 3 length long legs, I guess. I haven't made the distinction with those, but I'm guessing just because I put short legs in here, that I'm probably also going to put tall legs in here. However, they're a lot less common, and so it would make a lot more sense with that in mind to just put them in the catch-all bin. So I'll make a decision once I come across them. But yeah, I'll just stay quiet because probably can't hear me too well over the sliding and clanking of pieces anyway. Just a quick run through of how I sort. Now this, like I said, is basically all sorted already. I'm literally just quickly going through to make sure there's any non-leg parts in here and throw them out. But what I do if this was a bunch of different pieces is the same method. I slide the pieces, grab what I'm looking for, in this case legs, which is going to be pretty much all of these, if not all of them. And then I slide them, and then I have a bin sitting on my lap, so I can pretty mindlessly just sweep them in. And it makes it to where I don't have to pick up hardly anything. The only time in which I pick stuff up is if I'm looking for something that there's only a few of them, I can just see them and pick them out. Or if it's pieces that are stuck together, which I do come across, unfortunately, fairly often. So, I'm noticing choppiness, and I don't know if it's necessarily because of my internet is bad, or if my phone just sucks. And it's seeming, for whatever reason, to do a lot better when flipped this way, kind of. So, give me a sec just to, like, check some things. And see if maybe that's a contributing factor. I'm trying to figure out, like I have said, I'm very new to this. I'm trying to figure out how I would even type a message in chat. Now, previously when I was preparing to do a live stream, I had my computer as well, so I could just monitor the stream from that and do all chatting and checking on chat from that. But I, to be quite frank, was too lazy to bring my computer out into the shed that I'm in, and also I don't have the space, because it's quite a mess right now. So, we'll just stick with this. I would keep it like this, but I can't see chat with this, the orientation like this, unless maybe I like put it over here, which I guess I could do that just for now, until we actually get some people, just so I can see, just and make sure that no one has joined or said anything. So give me a sec to set this down and adjust my stand. And I'll go ahead and move this over here. Make sure I'll point this down a bit more. And if you're wondering, yes, I am using a Lego build stand for this. And this is just not wanting to stay at all. Here. Give me just a second. I'm just figuring out some things. I'm going to pull my cord over here. Hopefully it doesn't pull. See, it's saying orientation is locked. But yeah, the camera itself has flipped. Kind of? Do you guys want to watch me sort upside down? Is that cool? I may opt then to just not have my phone plugged in. But I have no idea if that means that this is going to cause my phone to just die, like, extremely fast. But we'll see. So we'll do this, see how this works. See if this improves the choppiness at all. And this needs tipped down even further. And it also needs to focus on the parts. I have no idea what the heck it's even focusing on. Hello, camera. Sure, maybe I'll do that. Will that help at all? Well, good enough, I guess. Still no viewers, which is fine. I'll just keep that there. I have no idea why it's not focusing on, like, anything. It's probably focusing on this knife back here. Demonetized. But I'm not monetized to begin with, so checkmate YouTube. I use that for cutting open boxes and things, and occasionally I come across a part or something that needs knifed apart. And I know that sounds terrible to do, but like last night, even there was an example where I had these Viking helmets that had the tooth pieces in them. And this one helmet, the tooth felt like it had almost been glued in. And the tooth is worth like 1 or 2 cents. The helmets sell for roughly $1. So to me, it was worth it to knife up the tooth and shred it apart to get it out of the helmet so that I could try to salvage the helmet. Normally, though, I just kind of set those aside in the they're literally glued together or something like that bin that is to be sorted or dealt with later. So I'll just do some mindless sorting. You can't really see like what I'm sliding. I guess that's a little bit better. If anyone decides to show up, I'll gladly talk a bit more, but I'm going to just be quiet for a minute here and get through some of these. So as I had mentioned, that man was entirely 100% just legs. There was no non-legs in there. So it was a pretty easy sort, as you saw. And that's how most of these bins are going to be, because like I said, the owner that I bought them from had these previously sorted. So we've got another tray now and again. Look at it, which you probably can't see it too well. But this looks to be mostly all torsos, other than there's a couple cubbies up here that are like half complete figs. Got like an Indiana Jones cubby, a Toy Story cubby, things like that. If a minifigure is more than one piece away from being complete, I just take it apart and put the pieces in their respective bin, just because it's better for my system that way. If they are like a piece away from being complete, or almost in this case where like they're just missing a common arm piece, then I would put them in a bin that I have that's basically my nearly complete bin. Now in this case, these aren't Woody's legs, these are Jesse's legs, and so he only has 2 of his parts, so I'm going to take them apart and sort his pieces out. And that is that, I guess, brings another point, I guess, that I'll make. And that is that being very knowledgeable about Lego makes this job 10 times better and makes you 10 times more efficient. So, anyone who's like looking for a job or like, oh, I want to start a business, and they're like, oh, you can make money selling Lego. If you don't have prior experience with Lego, you're going to have a much harder time. I personally grew up only ever buying Lego with my spending money. The only toys I ever bought really were Lego and cars. And so I've grown up with this my entire life. Now I'm not super old. And so I don't have the super way back knowledge. So stuff like this, for example, I'm not super familiar with. But this stuff isn't worth a whole lot anyway. So, but anything like 2010 and onward, especially in the Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Ninjago category, I'm very familiar with. Skip. Staying hydrated. Took a big chug of water. Stop. I tried to have my Lexia, which is my Lexi, which is my nickname for my Alexa, because I don't want to say her name and have her light up. I tried to have her play just like lo-fi, royalty-free music or whatever. I could also just tell her to play the Fat Rat, assuming that he's still royalty-free. But then she went and just started playing this, like, I don't even know what that was. I mean, I'm not trying to be racist, but like foreign, Indian, whatever music that is not my thing, no offense. So, and I had skipped, you probably heard me say skip about 5 times over the last 5 minutes, and she just kept playing that, whatever that was, so I just shut her off. Maybe some of you like the silence better, I don't know, maybe you just want ASMR. I probably should have put ASMR in the title, maybe that would get people to actually come. I have no idea what the audio sounds like, so it could be extremely loud and annoying, or it could be ASMR. It is just my iPhone's microphone after all, and they're pretty crappy, so probably not ASMR, but who knows. I'm starting to think maybe I should just stick to making shorts, because those actually get views. Live streams nowadays, at least in my experience, are just not as popular. They're still fun. Live streams are always a good time. Ones that have people, of course. But, like, at least just with myself, my interest in live streams from when I was in school to now has declined. In fact, I don't remember the last time I was in a live stream. Like in the chat of a live stream even. So, I don't know if that's just a me thing or what, but I would guess that live stream popularity has not gone down. I don't mean to say gone down. I mean not gone up as fast as the popularity in just short form content and regular videos. But, like, that ability to interact with your favorite creators and streamers live is still something that's super cool and super appealing to the younger generation, at least. And I can very much say that, because class. I remember, like, when I was in middle school, me and my best friends, we would have a class, like, at 12 or something, or 1. And then me and him both, we were both in that same class. We both, like, had this 2-hour break between our next class, or until we got picked up, because we went to a homeschool slash co-op slash charter school type thing. And so you would have breaks like that. Your day wasn't full. And so we would go to this room that almost always just had no one in it. It was just kind of the, you wait here if you were waiting for a ride or you just have time to kill room. And we would just put on, usually we would just watch the Brick Vault live streams back when they would live stream. Or if they weren't, you would put on something else. But that class was a Tuesday, Thursday class, and I'm pretty sure that was back then Brick Vault's live streaming schedule, which they still had and stuck to, was like a Tuesday, Thursday, and maybe one other day type thing, or at least Thursday. So they were almost always live, and it was always around like 10 or something Pacific time. And so they were almost always live, like during the time we were sitting there. Sometimes we would be sitting there after the stream ended, but regardless, there was almost always a Brick Vault stream, and if not a Brick Vault stream, then we would just go browsing memes to send each other, or other like Lego videos or streams. Back when me and him were actually very close to pooling our money together to getting a Ninjago City. That was back when that had come out, which doesn't seem like too long ago, but if you look at the year it came out and the value of the set seals, it's been quite a while now that I realize it. But because we were in like middle school or high school or something, like I had said, and so that was back when we were like, yo, we should pool our money together and get it, because we weren't rich or anything. I don't think either of us had a job at that point. And it actually almost happened. I think it was just a lack of initiative by both of us that just caused it to never actually happen. Which, you look at the price of the set now, and I really wish we had. But then again, maybe not, because we didn't have the money, and it would have required probably some pulling from savings to do that. So, yeah. I'm gonna be quiet for a sec while I dump this out. And try not to make a mess, as I accidentally dumped some parts into the torso bin on my lap. Hopefully nothing that's not a torso, but we'll see. I'm not seeing anything not a torso, so I hope I'm not missing it. Hopefully they were just torsos. So we've been live for 30 minutes now, and still don't have anyone, so I'm considering just ending it here and calling it quits on the live streaming until I have a bit more of a following. I wasn't sure if this would be something that people are more interested in rather than my long form content or my shorts, so I was just trying this out just to see if that would potentially appease that crowd. But it looks like, I mean, this isn't obviously a foolproof, experiment. But it looks like, just based off of this, based off of the views that my shorts get and my long form content gets, people are more interested in shorts than they are my long content. And then they're more interested in my long content than live streams. Or they have similar interests. I've come across this piece, which appears to be magnetic. Has magnets in the feet. Sorry, I wasn't even holding it in front of the camera. Of course, it's not going to focus again, but oh well, I guess. And I'm trying to decide if I should try to rip these legs off, because I've already given them a slight tug, and they're not coming out. And so I'm wondering if these are one of those parts where the legs are like glued or like manufactured in the torso. So I'm gonna just put these in our catch-all. You can see they stick together. Magnets, very interesting. I'm gonna put that in the catch-all that I was talking about. And I guess I'll just go ahead and finish up this bin, or this batch, and then probably end things here. Unless I get a random person who wants to join at the last minute. Quick note, I came across some woody legs, so I guess now I could put them back together and put them in that bin I was talking about. And now I guess is a good time to say I am pretty sure I'm going to just put these in the catch-all, just because they're so far and few between. It's not really worth it to me to put them in the standard legs bin. What even am I doing right now? Is it torsos or legs? I kind of just was pulling stuff apart, but not actually making any declarations. I guess we'll do torsos, that's what we were just on. Some Indiana Jones torsos and hats, which are nice. Really nice. Sell well. Not super, super expensive, but valuable enough to make them worth doing. And they bring in sales, so it's nice. And that is the primary reason why I do stuff like this, because I know a lot of brickmakers who say sorting and uploading torsos is not profitable, and I would agree to an extent. If you wait long enough to do your torsos until you've got them like sorted out pretty well, or like got a big enough amount of them to where you're uploading multiples of the same torso whenever you upload a torso. Especially like in my case, the last time I uploaded torsos, the only time actually, I had a huge batch of like castle and knights torsos, and those sell well and are the higher value. And so that time around, doing torsos was very much worth it. Because I think since then, probably, or most all of those castle torsos have sold. And they're usually between $1 to a few bucks a piece, just for the torso. So, you do the math, it makes it worth it enough. In the revenue that it brings you, but also the sales that they bring in. Because I don't think I've hardly ever had an order of one of those knights' torsos, or legs, or helmets, where they didn't buy other stuff. So I consider that to be worth it. I am going very slow today. Normally I would highly recommend you try to be a lot faster than this. Talking while sorting is not a good idea for me. I just go way too freaking slow. I also keep coming across things like this a lot more than I was yesterday, where it's like, okay, I know that I have his hair because I've gone through it and it's in my hair bin over here, but I don't know what his legs are. And if they're plain yellow legs, or this off yellow, forget the name of it right now, then I have the parts to complete him. But he's not one piece away from completion like I had previously specified, so I don't know, do I tear him apart and sort him out, or do I try to complete him and such? In this case, purely because with that, I already found his hair. Purely because of that, I'm going to go ahead and just do that and be like, well, he's just missing his legs, and it's possible that they're just blank legs. So we'll go ahead and put him in the almost complete bin. And minifigures especially that are missing a cowl, this is a Ra's al Ghul, I think? Or it's that, the guy, the Mandarin from Iron Man. I forget which one. I get them confused. Not the actual character, but just the torsos I recall. At least I think are pretty similar. Oh, as I was saying, if a minifigure's ever missing just a cowl, I always put them in the almost complete bin because I have that separate bin of, like, weird heads or hats and Star Wars hats. And those I usually sort out before I even get to this point, where it's just minifigures and stuff. Kinda. So, yeah. I was quickly gonna make a note and just make one other specification. If I come across a minifigure like this, I don't recognize this. I mean, it looks like it's from Pharaoh's Quest or whatever that thing is. Of course, my camera won't focus. But it's not anything like niche or exclusive. The legs are generic. The hair is generic. This head looks generic enough. And at that point, to me, it's not worth keeping the figure together and banking on the fact that it's actually inventoried correctly and put together correctly. So I almost always just take them apart and sort them. So I believe that's all the torsos from that lot. So I'll go ahead and dump those in their torso bin. Now we'll move on to legs. Just because I see a lot of them. You can't really see anything I'm doing because I have it scooched off screen. Stupid bubble wrap at my knees is tickling me and giving me a heart attack. So that is all of the legs from this. So we have some guys over here established that Woody, this guy, these two, or these guys are gonna go. And we have these ones where it's like, these two are just missing a hat. This guy's missing arms, legs. So now we're gonna take the hat, put it on him, and we're gonna split him apart. And so we're gonna legs, going to legs. Still no viewers, which is fine. Now I guess we'll do heads, because I see quite a few heads. I don't, at this stage, do any distinction between the heads, which is probably the biggest time loss, I guess. Because a lot of these heads are already pre-sorted by color or by type or just a thing like that. But if I washed them all in those individual categories, it just wouldn't go well. It would be inefficient. This crow, I have an animal bin, but this crow is technically a headgear. Now, purely because, well, actually, I was going to say, I think I don't know which bin I'm going to get to first. When it's something like this that I know I've actually sold these before, they're worth $1 or $2 or so. Something that's, like, kind of worth something like this, I just err on putting it in the bin that I'm going to get around to sooner. But I don't actually know which one I'm going to get around to sooner. I'll go ahead and put it in the headgear, just because I know that once that gets sorted out, it'll get put in its own headgear accessories category that will be pretty small, and so getting through them will be fairly easy. Singular hair. Those few catch-all legs, and realizing that the figures that I had stated partially complete will be dumped. Just put them in that I've made. Also, you can definitely hear that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just end things here because still no one is here, and that could be my fault because, like, I'm trying to open chat and it's not actually showing chat or giving me the option to chat. It's purely just giving me, like, chat viewing options, but won't let me actually say anything or type anything, which maybe is normal, but regardless, no one's here, which is to be expected. Anyone watching this after the fact, I apologize for this, camera action I'm doing at the end here. If you're seeing this now and you're like, oh, this was actually kind of interesting, which I doubt it was, but other things like this in the future, picking orders or reading questions or whatever, I will happily do that in videos or live, whatever the people want. So just let me know. But I think doing these sort of spontaneous live streams is not going to be very successful going forward until I have more of a following. And I fully expected that. I just thought, hey, YOLO, give it a try, right? Well, hope you enjoyed. If you're watching this, I guess it's going to go up as a VOD now, so VOD watchers, you're missing out. Should have been here live, man. That's all I'm going to say. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And peace.